Hi, welcome. In the last video, you printed your first program, Hello World, which is actually an example of a string with double quotes. In this video, you're going to learn how to work with Python strings. Remember, strings are the most basic data types for every programming language, and mastering strings is a very good step for you in your programming endeavor. So, we are going to learn how to create strings, how to slice and index strings, how to use functions and methods on strings, how to concatenate strings, how to use the fstrings function. So let's go straight to creating strings. I'll just copy some 3 strings here so you see the 3 methods of creating strings very quickly. Let's paste them here, and I just put print in front of all of them so you see we are going to print with no error. Let's just type print. So run this. You see we get no error. We get all the 3 strings have been printed. So there's a double quotes you can use to create a string. There's a single quote you can use to create a string, or triple quotes. So usually the triple is used when you have multiple lines. So let's come here and see this. I'll bring this one here. Let's print here. So what if you see what happens? The program already creates this like one string and then creates this other one like another string. So just to see that you run, it's going to print this one at the end. So when you have multi lines, that's when you use 3 triple strings, and then you do like this, remove this one, and then you print. So you see that's how it came out, like multi lines. Good. So let's go back here, copy this one, bring it back here. Good. So when do we use single quotes or double quotes? So I'll just say, for example, I like Python. Yes, you see. So you see here that with this, it assumes that the string ends here and the rest of this is giving an error. So if you run this, you see you get an error here. That's the advantage of using an ID like PyCharm. It tells you this apostrophe is where the problem is coming from. So how could we go about solving this? There's what they call in Python escape key. It's a backslash. You see when you do that, it actually tells the program to ignore this apostrophe, what is coming after the backslash, and just move on. So here, if we print it here now, you see we get no error. But usually what is easier to do is to, if you have single quotes in the middle like this, you come to the beginning, you say, okay, since I have single quotes in the middle, I'll put double quotes, and when you print that, you see you get no error. So what if, for example, you had double quotes in between? Let's just put double quotes here. Let's just say Python was double quotes. You see you still get this error. So the best way to fix it is to put single quotes here and single quote in the beginning. Already you see we are not going to have any error. You run this and that's fine. So these are the 3 ways of creating strings. Now let's move straight on to slicing and indexing strings. We will need to put these strings into variables. So variables are like containers. Let's just say, for example, we remove this print. We say my desire, for example, because it's always good to name variables with the underscore and some verb or some noun, so we are able to relate with your variable. This is an accordance with the PEP 8 Python standards, coding standards. So this one to become, that is like your vision. So we can name this my vision here, and then here we could name this one my problem here. Okay, good. So we have these 3 variables. Take off this one. So we can now call these variables directly. We say print my desire here. Just click here. Okay, so there you have it. Good. Now let's move on to slicing. So the first thing we are going to print here is we are going to say, okay, what is the first character in that string? You see, it starts with I, this one here. Notice something. The first character starts with 0. The second character starts with 1 instead. So you see the space there. Or let's take the third character. The third character, which is L here, 1, 2, 3, starts with 2. So Python naming standards, it starts from 0, 1, 2, 3. While say R or other programs, you start from 1, 2, 3. So let's print the first 6 elements. So instead of putting 5, we are going to put 6 here because this is inclusive while this is exclusive. So let's print that. You see, what do you get? You get I love, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If we put nothing at the end here, what do we get? You see, it prints the whole string. So you could as well remove this and print this. You see, you print the whole string. So let's say we want to start from the 10th character. What do we get here? We get from learn. So what if we want to print the last element? Python has a way of doing it. You just put -1 here and you run this. What do you get? You get R. So R here is the last element of this string. Remember, R here. So you can print the last 5 characters. Let's just say we go here, we put -5. We print. What do we get? We get from here. So we could add this one. Say, let's try 8 there. And remember again, we don't print this last one because it's usually exclusive. It takes the first one and ignores the last. So if we want to print the R here, which is at the end, we just need to come here and say, okay, print from -8 right to the right. And you see there, we get the R there. There is something you need to notice. If I print the original string, which is my desire, yeah, you will notice that the string has not changed. Whereas what we've been doing here, this is the result. It's immutable, which means you can't change the original string in Python. What you're actually doing is that you are creating a new string from here. So for example, this could be my desire 2 equals to this one. So now you see, you're only printing this my desire, right? Now, when you come here, you print now my desire 2. You run that, you see, it comes out like this. So this was just to show you that actually, whatever we're doing up here, we were not changing the structure of this string. We're just making a copy and working on the copy. This is the new string that we can create from slicing this original string like this. The next thing we are going to look at now is functions. So usually, an example, you have functions that are applicable with strings. Let's just take an example. You could get the length of a string. Let's get the length of my desire to. We have to print. Remember, you always have to print. You put your print statement in between. So you print the length of my desire to, and then you run that. You see the length is 8. So you could actually know 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that is an example of a function. A method is actually a function linked to a specific data type. I'll just type an example of a method and you would see print my desire to. Now dot. So you see here PyCharm, that's the advantage of using PyCharm. PyCharm gives you a list of methods which are applicable to this data type string. So you can say, for example, let's say dot, let's change everything to uppercase here. So we want to print this my desire to uppercase. So you see here when we print that, you see the Python and R, everything is transformed to uppercase. Same as we could come here and say, okay, we want to print. If we go there, we'll go to the lower. You see, there's a method for lowercase. Want to put everything in lowercase, so we print that there. You see, everything is put in lowercase here, while the function could be sum, average, which just applies to general objects. This is a method specific to this data type string. So let's look at other interesting methods of strings. Let's go here. So we could say split. So we could say split this by this, and what do we get? You see, it has split this by the forward slash. So you now have two strings split by the forward slash. So let's go to another interesting method. So we could come here and say, okay, replace, method of replace. These are common methods that you need to learn. So replace this with, say, comma, for example. Let's run that. So what do we get? Instead of having the forward slash here, we replaced it with comma. So if you want to get any method, you just need to get to the string, click on the dot, and then you would have the list of methods here. You can play with them when you want. Let's just take everything out. Take everything out here. Okay, so we want to concatenate these three strings. My desire, put plus, my vision, my problem. Let's print all of that. So when we print that, what do we get? Okay, so you see, I love to learn Python R to become a rock star, only to discover. So you see, we are able to concatenate these strings together. So now to make it look better, if you see here, we need to include a space here. So we come here, we say okay, plus, we give a space, add a plus here, we print again. So what do we get? We say I love to learn Python R to become a rock star. Okay, let's put a comma here. Put, say, another comma. You run it. You see, you have I love Python, comma, to become, and so you are able to concatenate strings. So let's run this one. Print this. What do you get? You get I love to learn Python R. I love to learn Python R twice. So say for example you put it times 10. You see, what do you get? You get it 10 times. And let's talk a bit about F strings. Okay, so this is my problem. Let's say your problem is changes from tired, you're busy. So we can create another variable. Let's just put reason. Let's bring this down here, for example. So if we have to run this, each time we want to change this tired, it is stressful to be changing it all the time. We use what they call F strings. An F string, instead of this tired, you put your braces, put reason in here. Let's say for example we run this, print my problem. Let's print that, we run it. So you see I am tired. So let's just say for example you said no, your problem is not that you're tired, your problem is that you're busy. So let's run this again. What do we get? We get only problem is I am busy. So this F string helps you to be able to change variables, and you could even use methods in the F string. Like for example, you want the busy to be in upper cases, remember? So we do dot upper here, we run it, and then you see only problem is I am busy. F strings will come in handy when you want to change variables like this, and it's easier to change rather than coming here and typing all the time, busy, tired, and all that.